Here's a behind the scenes look at reupholstering some vintage chairs. These chairs had a couple of different issues with them. This is like how we found them. That is the new upholstery with the new foam. But here's the problem, is that this wood, which was supporting the pieces, was really frail. I mean, I could almost, like, if I pressed really hard, I could probably just put my hand right through it. So I knew we needed some new wood, but also, like, I mean, this is just like a real thin layer of batting. I mean, I'll probably give you an idea, you know, between the two. Look how thin this one is versus this one has new 2-inch foam. It's got batting over it, you know, it's nice and solid. I mean, these you would probably fall through if you sat on them, but even if the frames were perfect, I mean, they just don't look very comfortable to sit in, you know, in comparison. So the first step was to take the seat frame off and create a template, and then we just cut it out using that there saw. We just traced around it and then, you know, followed our lines, and so now we have 6 good ones. And you don't have to buy like expensive wood. I mean, this is just plywood, you know, this is on the thicker side, but you know, plywood is really not that expensive. And then you have the foam component, and you can see we've traced out that one. So I'm going to be using a bread knife, which may surprise some of you. This is 2-inch foam. This is high density. It's good quality foam. And then I'm just gonna cut it out with the bread knife. And then I've got the batting. This is pretty thick. We're gonna be cutting everything into 27-inch sections, but I actually split this batting in half so it goes a little bit longer, because it's really thick and you don't need that much. And then, you know, I've got my upholstery set up here too. So when we get everything cut out, you know, you've got your board, and then you've got your foam, the batting, and the upholstery. And I'm going to show you how to put her all together. All right, so now that you've seen, we've got the foam cut out. I've got a 27 by 27 section of batting cut out. So I'm going to put the foam over our wooden chair frame. I'm just going to line it up, and that looks pretty good. It's flush with the bottom. This, you just need to have like overlapping on all the sides. This one, if we need to, it pulls. You can see, like, I mean, we can pull and shape this how we want, but I'm going to use adhesive spray, and I am going to get this batting attached to the foam, like so. And then I'm going to take the upholstery. This is a 27 by 27 section as well. This one doesn't have any lines or shapes, so we don't have to worry about, you know, it looking like perfectly straight, because it's just kind of random dots all over the place. But I just want to make sure that I have enough to tuck under the back and the sides as well. So once I've got that the way I like it, then I'm gonna spray this guy to the batting. Nothing complicated so far, right? And now I've got that done. Just need to make sure our foam didn't move. Rotate it. Just make sure my board on the bottom is still flush, which it is. And then with this one, I'm gonna push this down and hold it here, and I'm going to fire 2 staples, and we'll probably have to touch that up later. And then I'm going to do the same thing in the back. And now I've got it nice and secured. And I'm just going to work one side and the other side, and then I'm going to do the back. And I want a nice tension on this because I'm looking for a curved top. Ran out of bullets. But I'm going to do the same thing on the back, so you can see how flush that is. And sometimes we may have to do a little touch up just to add a staple here or there, just to make sure it's like got a nice and smooth look to it. But see how like I put this and it's wrinkled here, so we're just going to pull to the right a little, and I've got the tightness I think I'm happy with. So now, if we're happy with the way that looks, let's see how the back is. It's got a nice curve to it as well. Then it's time to start doing the sides, and I do the corners last. So I'm gonna do both of these sides, and then I'll show you how to tuck the corners in. So I'm gonna start, like there's the corner. My first staple is gonna fire right about here, because I like to have a little bit of space, so when I'm going back and finishing the corners, I can do adjustments if I need to without having to pull staples. And I want these sides to be nice and tight too, because I'm looking for, you know, to kind of roll. It's nice if you have the air gun stapler, I do. But if you don't, just take your time and make sure that you get the staples secured into the board. And on this one, I'm gonna stop firing. You can see how like this is kind of go into a corner, but I'm going to stop firing right about here. So not all the way to the corner, about one finger length away from the corner. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. again, I'm gonna work my way up to the corner. I'm gonna fire the last staple about a finger length from the end, so I have a little bit of work, a little bit of room to work when I start finishing the corners. So that's about good. So with this upholstery and the way that the corners are, you can see that. I mean, we can manipulate this thing so that we can make it all just kind of disappear. The thing that's tricky is I don't want it to be like really thick and sloppy. So I'm gonna really pull, and then I'm gonna put two staples in the front, and then I'm gonna start cutting a bunch of this stuff away from it so we can get a little bit flatter section. But I'm just gonna kind of follow my way around the corner. So that means I'm gonna have to put another staple like here, and probably one a little bit closer. And I'm also angling it a little bit. But you see how now I just put one staple a little bit closer, one staple a little bit closer, and I've got this corner, and when I'll throw two in here. But see, when we turn it over, you don't see any of the fold, which makes it look a little more professional. And the same thing on the back. Essentially just gonna try to find where the fabric can go into that corner so that we can see how we got this thing almost all tucked. Because we're just trying to avoid having big lines, or folds as we probably call them. Let's see how I manipulated this one around again. And you can see, like, when we turn it over, you're not gonna see any of the fold, which is what I want. You just have to be careful. Notice that I'm just firing two staples into every corner because I am gonna cut the fabric and the batting so it's not, it doesn't get real puffy, because if you get it too puffy, your chair can actually lean a little bit one way or the other, and we don't want that. All right, so that's done. And now I'm gonna cut. And the way I'm gonna make my cuts is I'm gonna kind of follow, like you can see how it folds here and there's a fold here. So I'm gonna go just down, and then I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna cut away and just get all of this stuff out of the way, because essentially what I'm doing is I'm just thinning out all of this batting material. I don't want, you know, this thing to be sitting up like this tall. So again, I'm just following this fold and the batting. So I'm gonna keep this and then cut this away. So I'm going away from it. And now I just have this left. So let's staple this down so it's flat. And then, you know, I'm left with just this batting and that upholstery, so I don't have to worry about, you know, it being 3 times as thick. Shoot 3 more staples, cut pretty close, and then just finish it off. And I'm gonna do that in all the corners, but see how flat that is now? I'm gonna do the same thing in this corner. See, there's my fold there, and I've got a fold there. So I'm just gonna cut straight down on both sides. And then I'm gonna cut away. I can actually just put this all the way cut away. And then I'm left with just that section. So I'm just gonna overlap these guys, get them tucked and out of the way. 3 more staples. Boom, boom, boom. Clean it up, and same thing on this guy. You can see like the fold here, and there's another fold there. So that's where we're gonna cut down. And I'm gonna cut down and then away. And this one I can go ahead and just completely remove. And again, so I'm left with a little strip of batting. I'm gonna make this flat, 1 staple there. And then 3 more. Boom, boom, boom. We'll tighten it up so we don't have anything hanging over. And then I'm gonna do same thing again. This is really tricky. I know I'm going fast, but corners take a lot of practice. So if these aren't going as easy for you, just slow down and take your time. I'm just showing you some tricks I've learned over time, because I really like the way that the batting looks. If you're not using batting, the foam can be a little unforgiving sometimes, and the batting will like fill in the holes. It makes like this look a lot easier, because the batting also pads the foam a little bit, which is a huge trick. So even if you don't think you need the batting, I would highly recommend it. But I'm just gonna cut this out of the way. And again, so that leaves me with this. So I'm just gonna fold it over and keep it flat. And then pull up on this corner. 1, 2, 3 more staples. Cut it close. And then finish her up. And now, voila. But see, like this, we've got a little bubble there. So I can just kind of run my finger in. And then you can you see that, Evan? Like, all I'm gonna do is just get some of that excess, like right there, and fire another 2 staples in. And then she's better. But now see, you got nice curves. And it's complete.